Expresso here on SABC3. Now, the country is, of course, going to be in a little bit of a standstill today because Oscar Pistorius is back in court today to face charges for murder and, of course, for a trial date to be set. And I think it's something that's going to be on all of the news channels, and it certainly got all of us talking here as well. And we will be speaking to, leigh-anne will be speaking to an expert a little bit later on in the show. But I think it's a sad day all around because, of course, it is Reeva Steenkamp's birthday as well. And leigh-anne, you wished her family condolences, and it is a sad day for all of us. But yeah, what can we say about that? We are yet to, he's still innocent until proven guilty, but I think now a lot of people, or at least her family, will finally get some of the answers that they've all been hoping for and looking for as well.
One is never pleased with a situation like this. I mean, the saddest part of all of this is we all knew Reeva and we all knew Oscar on a personal level. And so we look at this and it's really sad. I mean, he's a young guy and he's standing in a situation which is really, really difficult. As leigh-anne said, some of our experts give us some details, who's going to be at the actual trial this afternoon or in court, and we'll give you specifics and details about that.
Yeah, no, I think, like you've both said it all together. I think just maybe in terms of today, what reportedly is going to happen is that the visit to the court proceedings will be very brief, where the indictment will be handed down by the prosecution, where they'll try and prove a certain case, and obviously the defence, the counter of that. And I think, you know, a lot of questions might be answered. It's been a long time, 6 months since that fateful day.
You know what? I look at this and I see that over the weekend I went online and I see that there's been a lot of support for Oscar. I mean, I feel sorry for the guy, I really, really do. There's some Facebook page that has a few support messages for the guy with a lot of likes on it. And I went through some of the messages, and as much as people are speaking out about the Steenkamp family and also their anger, a lot of people are rooting for him, saying, you know, we support you, we're really sorry. Like you said, innocent until proven guilty. So it's a really crazy thing as people are torn between two situations or scenarios or opinions even on polls where people speak out. 29% of them saying we believe he's not guilty, 22 saying yes, we think he's guilty of manslaughter. So I think a lot of people speaking out, whether it's on social networks, whether it's on Facebook or wherever you had your opinion, or in newspapers. So really crazy, and I think Pretoria today especially is at a standstill.
Yeah. Well, I think let's just give you a bit of an update on what we know so far.
It's a face we haven't seen officially in over 5 months. Oscar Pistorius back in court today, looking more confident and better prepared to stand trial for murder. It's a far cry from his court appearance in February, where he broke down in tears after being charged with the Valentine's murder of his girlfriend, Reeva Steenkamp. Oscar Pistorius, the Blade Runner, was a man who inspired millions around the world as a symbol of hope to those who wanted to dream big. From humble beginnings as a toddler as a double amputee, Pistorius beat the odds by making it to the semi-finals in the 400-meter London Olympics last year. But that all came crumbling down in the early hours of Valentine's Day this year, when Pistorius shot his model girlfriend, Reeva Steenkamp, 3 times through a toilet door. With the police investigation officially under wraps, Pistorius faces a charge that could see him serve 25 years to life behind bars. Although the official polls indicate that most people think he will be found not guilty, with 29% voting in favor of a not guilty verdict. Possibly an indication of their lack of faith in South Africa's judicial system. Ballistic tests have shown that the Blade Runner was indeed on his stumps when he killed his girlfriend. So the prosecution will possibly try to hone in on Pistorius's aggressive behavior to try to show he was prone to violent outbursts, which it will say was why he killed Steenkamp. His only competition now is the one that continues today, when the 26-year-old is due to appear in court to hear the full details of the charges against him and to be formally charged for murder.
Well, we look at that and it seems like a really horrific horror movie as we're looking at something which is more than just real. And as we mentioned, bringing Pretoria today to a standstill. Of course, there's been unofficial sightings of Oscar Pistorius since his bail hearing in February, and recently in Hermanus, seeing him kayaking, and we're trying to get some information from him and the family, as Pistorius has been living literally a self-imposed isolation at his uncle's home. But we want to hear from the experts, and so this time round we got Shane, he's from the Star, to just give us some details on what we know and also what he will be charged from. Shane, are you there?
I am indeed. Good morning.
Morning to you. I think the first thing we want to know on Expresso, as we're all talking about it since this morning already, is what do you think the charges will be today? I mean, premeditated murder, anything else?
Well, we've known for quite a while that premeditated murder was going to be one of the charges here. But it's emerged over the past week that the state is going to be charging him with an extra 2 counts. Supposedly of recklessly discharging a gun in a public place. And it's this particular charge, these 2 particular charges that appear to be part of the state's strategy to paint him as this trigger-happy gun nut, someone who's apparently boasted about being a crack shot, someone who's apparently threatened to break people's legs. The Sunday Times was basically saying that the state is planning on exposing him as an aggressive character, and that's its key strategy.
You know, you're going to be in court today, and I mean, we'll be following everyone's tweets closely and also all the information that comes through. But it seems like the police have backtracked on the allegation that Pistorius was wearing his prosthetics when he shot Riva. I mean, what will the focus be? Do we label him as the aggressive person, like you said, the trigger-happy guy and the aggressive guy that we've learned about him in the newspapers recently?
Well, from what we understand, that it does seem that the forensic evidence actually does corroborate Pistorius' story, that he wasn't on his stumps at the time of the shooting. But the problem is that doesn't necessarily it doesn't necessarily prove his innocence here. What we do know is that it's going to be about examining the details of what happened on that night. The state is going to be questioning whether or not he's been able to identify whether or not Riva was actually in that bathroom, whether or not he really did mistake her as an intruder.
I must also say that some of the images that we're showing on Expresso this morning is not for sensitive viewers, and we're chatting to Shane, who is our correspondent and also our journalist who's going to be in court today. What do you think of the witness list? I mean, I had a look at it, and 100 names, including investigating officer Hilton Botha, also soccer player Mark Batchelor, he's on the list. Is there anyone else that we know that is testifying today?
Well, not necessarily testifying today, but we do know that once trial starts, there was another person who was also revealed. Apparently, a key witness of the trial is going to be Riva Steenkamp's ex-boyfriend, Warren LaHood, who she apparently met with just 2 days before her death. And from what we understand, it's going to be what they actually spoke about just prior to Riva's death, and whether or not she actually was in a particular state when it came to discussing Oscar and their particular relationship.
We know that there's a trial date for next year, and I mean, do you know when it will be?
From what we understand, lawyers from both sides have been confirming to the media, pretty much left, right, and centre, that apparently it's going to be in March 2014. So it's going to be quite a lengthy trial, from what I understand. Yeah. And like you said, there's a lot of witnesses that are probably going to be called.
Look, we have to go, but I want to know, it's early days. Any prediction as to what the outcome of the trial will be?
Well, that's something that unfortunately I wouldn't feel comfortable predicting. But yeah. I mean, obviously, this is a story that has really captured people's interest from across the globe, and everyone wants to know if he's going to be declared innocent or if he's going to be given a life sentence for premeditated murder.
Okay, Shane, thanks so much for your inputs. And as we mentioned, we'll follow everything closely from people's tweets, of course, and our newspapers, and also the Express on Expresso as we follow all of this. We're chatting about the Oscar Pistorius trial, and of course, we wish the family also all the best as Riva Steenkamp is celebrating her birthday today. Ewan, what are you up to?